So this is 2017 and the question still remains, which is the best language? So in this video we'll talk about which is the best language for you. So welcome back aliens, this is Naveen Reddy from Studies for Learnings, and let's continue the topic. Which is the best language? And the answer is none of them are perfect language. So when you say it is best for something, or when you choose a language, this is the best language, we do that because of specific requirements, So if you are going for mobile development, let's say if you want to be a mobile developer, you have two choices, right? Because the world is working on with these two languages now, two technologies, iOS or Android. If you are going for Android, again we have two choices. We can go for either native applications or we can go for hybrid applications. If you are going for native, we have only one choice, which is Java. Because when you want to make a native application for Android, we have to learn Java. You don't have a choice. So you have to learn Java and you have to learn XML. If you are going for a hybrid, you have to use certain frameworks like Cordova, we have PhoneGap, then we have Ionic framework. Using those things, you can make an application which will work on Android OS. But then for that, we have to learn JavaScript. And we don't actually use that type of application everywhere. So if you have some web services available on the internet and if you want to use those web services, then only you should create the hybrid apps. But other than that, you can go for native applications which provide you better performance compared to the hybrid applications. If you are going for the iOS, we have two choices again. Either we can go for Objective-C or we can go for Swift. And nowadays everyone is moving towards Swift because Swift is new and it has lots of features compared to Objective-C, right? So that's for mobile development. So if you want to get into any of this, you don't have a choice. You don't have to think about which language to learn. It's dependent upon what you want to be, you have to choose one. Now, before that, I have one more point. It doesn't matter which language you choose. Let's say if you are going for iOS and if you have two choices, either we can go for Swift or you can go for Objective-C. What matters is when you build a software, the architecture of the software, the database strategy, the testing strategy, that defines the power of your software, not the language, because language is just a tool to achieve that stuff, right? So any language will do, but those things also matters, okay? So it's not just language. So we have talked about the mobile world, let's move towards the web world. If you want to be a web developer, now again we have two things. You can be a web designer or you can be a web developer. When you say you want to be a web designer, you have only one choice. I mean, you have to go with this suite, which is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery. And again, if you want to get into updated stuff, you have to learn AngularJS. So to design a website, you need all those things. But then if you want to be a web developer, in the back end, you have to use either PHP, you can use Java, you can use Python, you can use C#, ASP combined. Now, which one is best out of this? So if you want to be a developer and if you want to be a developer in a quick way, if you don't know any programming language and if you still want to go for a development part, start with PHP. PHP is much easier to learn. You can learn PHP in 2 weeks, I guess, and you can start making websites. In fact, majority of the websites are actually built on PHP. First of all, it is easy. Second, it is easy to configure, and the hosting charges for PHP is very less compared to other technologies. And that's why maximum websites are built using PHP. But then question arises, is it secure? Is it stable? Is it scalable? No, none of them suits with PHP, right? So if you want to make a secure website, if you want to make a stable website, then you have to go for some other languages, right? So we have Python, we have Ruby. So you might have heard about Ruby, right? So Twitter was launched, it was made with the help of Ruby language. But then due to elections, because we have lots of tweets coming on elections, right, or during elections, so to handle all the tweets, they went for, so the backend part of Twitter now modified from Ruby to Scala. So if you want to make an awesome website where you want to work with huge amount of data, you can either go for Java or you can go for Scala, right? Now you can also go for C#, but then C# is a proprietary language for Microsoft and it is always better. So whenever you work on Microsoft technologies, always go for C# and ASP. But if you have a choice, if you want to go for open source world, Java is one of the best way to go for. But then if you want to make a normal website, should we use Java? No. If you are making a small website and if you are using Java, there are lots of headache you have to handle. First of all, you have to buy the server space and that will cost how much. Again, there are some free servers available. You can go to AWS and you can host a website there. But again, you have to some way you have to pay, or the other way you have to pay, right? So which is the best one to go for? Depend upon certain parameters. If you want to make a small website, go for PHP. Middle level website, go for Ruby. If you want to make a website which will process huge amount of data, go for Java or Scala, right? So you can also combine Java and Scala to make the awesome websites. So that's for mobile development, web development. Now let's go for the enterprise world. If you want to be an enterprise developer, if you want to get into a big company like MNCs, or company like Google, Facebook, not exactly Facebook, but Google, Amazon, then you have to work on enterprise level softwares. And the moment you say enterprise level softwares, you have to work with huge amount of data. And if they are using big data there to process the information, then we have to work on some frameworks like Hadoop, we have Spark. And if you want to work with any of this language, let's say if you talk about Hadoop framework, if you want to work with Hadoop, you have to learn either R language, because R language is used for data processing or data science. So if you have a huge amount of data and if you want to find some patterns out of that, you can use R language. We can also use Python there. Again, easy to learn and easy to implement. You can learn Java because Hadoop framework itself was implemented in Java. Or you can go for Scala, because if you can learn Scala, you can work on Hadoop and Spark both, which works on the big data world. So let's choose one now. So if you want to be into mobile world, I will ask you to go for Java, because we are making iOS Android applications. If you are sure you want to go for iOS, go for Swift. If you are sure you want to go for web development, and depend if you want to go for web development as a startup, if you want to build your own small applications, go for PHP. If you're making a big applications or big websites, go for Java. If you're making a big data, if you want to get into big data world like Hadoop or Spark, again you have two choices, Java or Scala, right? So none of the language is perfect. It's depend upon the requirement which you want to go for, right? So which is the best language? Depends upon the requirement. So that's it. I hope you like this video. If you liked it, click on the like button and do subscribe for further videos.